go. So hello and welcome to Virtual VKL this February. My name is Bridget Henderson and I am the founder and owner of Cowgirlblues. This is the business here behind me, and we are going to be looking at yarn and projects today. First, before I get into that, just a couple of information points. The first one is around diversity and inclusion. And you'll see in my name that I have my pronouns, which is she, her. Please feel free to include your pronouns. It is very helpful to know how you like to be referred to, and I can see those from my screen. So that would really help me if you could do that. And it also helps to make this a welcoming and inclusive space. And VKL had a very helpful and informative training video recorded by Cecilia Nelson-Hurt on diversity and inclusion. And I'm actually going to suggest that they make it available to all participants, because Cecilia really talks about diversity and inclusion in such a beautiful way that helps, it certainly helped me to see a little more and see things a little differently. And it created some awareness for me about things I can do differently to be more inclusive. And one of the things I said when we were chatting before I started is that I know that I talk quite fast. So I am consciously trying to speak a little slower this evening. Please feel free to pop a message in the chat if I'm going too quickly. And I'll try and remember to ask if I can repeat something, or if you'd like to see something again, if I've moved through things too quickly. Hopefully you are all familiar with the chat function. It's a great tool to use during the sessions, and I can see it here on my screen. I'm doing the session flying solo this evening my time. I know it's morning for many of you. So feel free to pop a message in the chat, and that helps me to know what questions you may have. And it's also a great way to ask questions if you are not comfortable doing that in person. And so I would actually prefer it if you do have questions, if you could put those in the chat. And when we get towards the end of the session, we'll have some time where you'll be able to unmute and ask any other questions, and that we can have a bit more of a conversation. So please do make this a welcoming space for everyone, and let's have a great time in our session today, and I hope you have an amazing VKL show. So I recognize some of your names, not everyone's. Hi, Colleen, thanks for saying hi. It's lovely to know where you are. I think many of you are in North America. So if you'd like to just say hi and let everyone else know wherever you are, wherever in the world, and that's a fun thing to pop into the chat. Hi, Diana from New York City. Great to have you here today. Colleen is in Cambridge, Maryland. Hi, Colleen. And Valera is in Atlanta in Georgia. Welcome, Valera. Arlen is in New York City. Hello. And yes, hello and welcome to all of you. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Hello, Betty. Wanda is in Rutland in Vermont. Hi, Wanda. Deanne is in Massapequa. Did I say that right? In New York. And hopefully some other people will come and join us as we go along. So I'm going to start by telling you just a little brief overview of what Cowgirlblues is all about, because I know many of you have seen one of my presentations before. And if you have any additional questions that I haven't covered, please put those into the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. So I'm actually standing in our studio space here in Cape Town in South Africa. And we have a small factory, I guess you would say, with a little showroom retail space, and you can see all the yarns on the wall behind me. And I've just realized that I plugged in, whoops, my microphone and then forgot to turn it on. So I'm going to improve the sound quality a little if I can. Just give me 1 second, please. There we go. So that should have changed and slightly improved the sound. I hope it has. So apologies for that. So we are based here in Cape Town, very close to the southernmost tip of Africa, and we work with all South African yarns. We have a lot of merino sheep farming here, a little further inland than where we are in Cape Town, and also a lot of Angora goats, which produce mohair. And South Africa is actually the world's biggest producer of mohair. So one of my objectives was to create yarns for customers all over the world where they could buy South African yarns dyed by South Africans. Because creating more value, adding more value to the yarns here is very important, because that gives us an opportunity to create more jobs and to strengthen our economy, which is struggling at the moment. And unemployment is a huge problem here. So we're currently a team of 10 women, and women are important to me, often overlooked in our economy and in our culture. And creating jobs for women is an amazing way to empower people, and the opportunity to learn and grow in so many ways through having a steady income and the community of people that you are surrounded by at work can really make a massive difference. So that is a huge part of what drove me to start the business and to keep growing and keep it strong and healthy. So that is just a little bit of background about Cowgirlblues. We're very much about color, as you could probably see here behind me. We have a color palette of 30 solid colors or semi-solid colors, and a collection of multicolors, and everything is dyed by hand. And that creates vitality and an interest to the colors, which I think is really exciting, and I hope that you will too. So where I'm going to go from there is just to tell you a little bit about our yarn bases, and then we'll start to get into the color a little bit more, look at some of the limited editions, we'll talk about the solid colors, and I've got a range of projects to show you. So for anyone who has just arrived, I am going to put the basic background information about Cowgirlblues into the chat. I haven't mentioned yet, but I know I always should, that we have a coupon code for VKL shoppers. It's VKL Feb 22, and that will get you 10% off your purchases in our online shop. And our online shop, there's a link in the chat that I've just posted, cowgirlblues.co.za/shop, or straight onto the website and you'll find your way there. While you're on the website, do sign up for our newsletter. I write a weekly newsletter. Next week's one is going to be themed What to Knit Next. So it's a selection of projects and ideas of things that might inspire your next project. So I'm going to take you through our yarn bases and show you the different yarns that we have available, and then we'll look at colors. Just a little check-in to ask if I'm pacing myself okay. If anyone would like me to slow down a little, please let me know. And if there's anything that I can repeat for you, please also just send me a message in the chat. You're welcome to send me a private message if that makes you feel more comfortable. And I will do my best to act on your feedback. So here is our range of yarn bases. And I'm going to hold them up a little closer to the screen so that you can see them there. And starting over here on the right is our merino DK. All of the yarns are pictured in orchid blush, which is one of our semi-solid colors. So we have 3 merino yarns that are 100% merino. The double knit, or merino DK, is approximately 170 meters to 100 gram skein. The merino twist is a sport weight yarn, and that is 360 meters to the 100 grams. Our semi-solid colors are available in 50 gram balls, and the multicolors in 100 gram skeins. And then this one in the middle here is our merino lace single. That's a lace weight yarn with 650 odd meters in 100 grams. Then we have one of our newer yarns is the proper sock yarn base, also merino, but mixed with 25% nylon to give it a little bit of extra strength and hard wearingness for socks. So that's the proper sock. Then we've got 3 mohair blend yarns. Starting on this side, we have the fluffy mohair, which is a brushed yarn. We call it double knitting-ish weight because it is, there's so many different needle sizes that you can knit it on. So it has 200 meters to the 100 grams, and we'll look at how you can incorporate it into a project in just a few moments. Then we've got the kid silk, which is a beautiful blend of 70% kid mohair and 30% silk. And if you missed my opening, South Africa is the world's biggest producer of mohair yarns. And we also process a lot of mohair from other countries. And part of what Cowgirlblues is all about is offering you South African yarns dyed by South Africans. Then our next yarn base over here is our Aran single. That's a single yarn, a single spun yarn, and approximately 120, I'm double checking myself. Yes, approximately 120 meters per 100 grams. So it's a heavier weight yarn and beautifully soft to knit with. It's a blend of 80% merino and approximately 20% mohair. I'm just going to show you our color palettes so that you can get an idea of what we have available. You can see many of the colors on the wall behind me over here as a little refresh as we go along. We have 30 semi-solid colors in a whole range of blues, greens, some neutrals and pinks, reds, purples. So a lot of colors to choose from. And we're very happy to provide input and suggestions if you want to mix different colors, but you'd like a little bit of help with that. And you can always contact us on shopping@cowgirlblues.co.za. I also have a color card in our kids silk yarn, which I want to show you, because you can see that the colors show up a little differently on the different yarn bases. If you look at this rainforest color over here, you can see how the merino yarn takes the color much more strongly than the mohair does. We use the same color recipes on all the yarn bases and the same amount of dye per yarn weight, but it does just show up a little differently. So that's just something to be aware of. And you can order color cards on the website in our shop if that's something that would be useful to you. So that's just a quick run through of our, a little bit of basic information about our yarns, our standard yarns, and our standard colors. The next thing that I'd like to do is to talk a little bit about our February color theme and some limited edition colors, which are available until they run out, basically. So what we've been working with this year is having a color theme each month. And inspired by Valentine's Day, our color theme for February is pink. So I used pink as a starting point when dyeing up some limited edition colors. And the first ones I'm going to show you are the merino DK bases. So you can see those two colors over here. This one is called Bougainvillea, inspired by the flowers. And you can see it's got different shades of pink, some hot pink, a little bit of more plummy pink, masala, some of our faded rose, you can see there. And then a little bit of mustard thrown in there. I always like to give a little contrast in the color options. So that one is called Bougainvillea, and it's on our merino DK base. And we're going to look at it again in a project that I have knitted using this color. The next of our DK options is called Shells and Things. And here you can see it's got some pale pinky tones, a little bit of blue going with the pink, a dash of orange in there, and some quite neutral, more sable, softer tones. So that one is called Shells and Things. And all of these colors are in the limited edition section on our website. And I'm going to paste a link into the chat for you there. So you can just click through if you want to have a look at these with me as we talk through them. So that's Shells and Things. So both of those are on our merino DK base. Then we have some colors on our merino twist base. So this is a sport weight yarn, 300 meters to the 100 grams. And this one is called Berries and Things. So you can see some of this bright pink berry idea here, some olive green, a little bit of turquoisey Camps Bay color. And that's on our merino twist base. And then here I have frangipani flowers, tiny hint of yellow, some softer pinks and peachy colors. Yeah, each skein is a little different, but there's a variation in the color. And if you look on the website in the limited edition section, you will see within each color there is an image of how it knits up. So that gives you a slightly better idea of what you'll get with the color than you can necessarily see on the skein. So those two were merino twist. Then I paired up these two. They're called flamingo feathers, and the color is on our lace single and on the kid silk. I love working with these two yarns together, both holding them together when you knit, or a project where you start with one and then intermix the other one and go back and forth between the two. So those ones are called flamingo feathers, and that's lace single and our kid silk. And then last but not least, our proper sock yarn. This is called Faded Flowers, and you'll have to be quick if you want some skeins of this because there is not much left. And it's also quite subtle, pale colors with a couple of little splashes of a little bit more strong orange and some more faded rose there. And this one is on the proper sock. And I'm going to change my order a little bit to show you a project that I persuaded my mum to knit using one skein of this. And that is Laura Morat's color palette socks. And I am going to just copy and paste to that here. If you want to follow along with me for this section, then go into the knit kits section on our website, because we're going to be talking through the yarn bundles and kits that we have available for you there. So this is called the color palette socks pattern. And what we've done is used that faded flowers in proper sock. And then mixed in using our mini balls and proper sock, a combination of different colors to create the stripes. You can see there. It's a beautiful pattern. My mum loved knitting it. I'm not sure who's going to get to keep the socks when they're finished. I suspect she might. But fortunately, it is way too hot to be wearing socks here at the moment. And so she's got time to knit the second sock and for us to decide who's going to get them. So that is our proper sock yarn, and it is the Color Palette Socks project. We have a yarn bundle, which includes 1 skein of the proper sock with 4 of our 20-gram mini balls that are great for color work, particularly in socks, if you like to introduce different colors or knit different colored toes and heels and ribs. So yes. Each mini is 20 grams of proper sock. Does it have a meterage on here? It doesn't, but 20 grams is about 70 meters, and it's a lovely way to combine the colors. So that is the Color Palette Socks project. The next one is my Love on the Rocks shawlette. So this is a little pattern that I designed to see what I could do with 1 skein of the bougainvillea, and I paired it with mustard. Mustard is one of my favorite colors, although I'm told I should wear green more than the mustard. But I really love how pink and mustard, or pink and yellow, work together, especially a variegated yarn like this bougainvillea. So you start the pattern at this end here, and it's asymmetrical. So the first section, you are increasing on every right side row and working in stripes of the contrast color. And you can probably see here that I'm working the bougainvillea in garter stitch and the mustard in stocking stitch, stockinette. And then when you get to the apex of the triangle, we switch over to work the mustard in the bigger sections and the bougainvillea in the small ones. And that then carries on until you get to the end. So if I put it on, you get an idea of the size. It's asymmetrical, so it'll sit over your shoulder, around your neck, across your shoulders, just draped. Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, so it was a fun project to knit, and I really like how the colors have turned out. And I'm particularly inspired actually by the wrong side, so I'm going to be using that in a pattern coming soon. It's got a couple of stitches of garter stitch along the neck edge, and then I created almost a little ruffle along the, I'm going to show you the wrong side, along this, the outside edge. That's a little detail with a small hole in it, that just gives a bit of interest along the edge of the shawl. So this is the Love on the Rocks shawl, and I will put a link to that in the chat. We have a yarn bundle, and I have put together 2 colorways for you. In fact, 3 colorways, sorry. So that was the bougainvillea colorway, which is what I've knitted up. Then I have put shells and things together with Air Force. And each bundle comes with 2 skeins of 100 grams each, and then a 20-gram mini ball, because there isn't quite enough to get to the pointy end. If you would like to add pom-poms or tassels or things, then I recommend getting a 2nd skein of the solid or the multicolor to be able to do that. So this one is shells and things paired with Air Force. And we've also put together Signs of Spring with olive as a third color option for this one. Of course, you're very welcome to make your own color combination if you'd prefer. You can just order the skeins individually in our online shop, or select one of the color options and just ask us to substitute whichever colors you prefer. So that's the Love on the Rocks shawlette. Choosing names for colors and patterns is very difficult. And with patterns, you have to go through Ravelry and see how many patterns there really are with that name. So everything with Love was already taken. So Eileen, I've just popped that in the chat. That is called the Love on the Rocks shawlette. Did you see the project? Put it up again for you. Great. So next, I thought that I would show you the Good Karma shawl, because we have worked up another colorway in honor of our pink theme for February. So here you can see this is the Signs of Spring version of the Good Karma shawl. And it's knit with one skein of merino DK, or double knit, one ball of merino twist that's held double to achieve a similar weight, and then one skein of our fluffy mohair in Signs of Spring. Signs of Spring is one of our most popular colorways, and this is a great way to try out the fluffy mohair if it's not a yarn you've worked with before. It's a beautiful lightweight yarn, and it's a great way to get warmth without getting too much weight. You can see here, this is a nice shawl that wraps comfortably, and it was 95 degrees earlier today, and thank goodness it's cool in the studio, but it's not a super heavyweight shawl. But obviously if you are in a colder climate and you're looking for more warmth, you can easily wrap up in it. So Donna has asked, how's the fluffy mohair against the skin in terms of the itch factor? Well, I mean, as I said, it was 95 degrees earlier today. It's not that now, but it's certainly in the 80s. And obviously I wouldn't be wearing this if I was standing in the sun, but I'm standing here and it isn't itchy. What I've noticed with yarns, whether mohair or wool yarns, is that the itch factor is related to my body temperature. So as I'm wearing this, I'm starting to feel, okay, it's starting to feel a little prickly. And what happens with the yarn is, if you looked at a cross section of the yarn, you would see under a microscope, you'd see that there's a hollow core which is surrounded by so almost like a bamboo, not a bamboo, but that idea of a structure with hollow, then a ring of I think keratin structure, and then scales on the outside of that. And what happens when the air in the hollow core heats up is it expands and the scales open out, and that is what gives you the scratchy feeling and why you don't feel it when you first put something on. So to me, that's always a message that you're too hot and it's time to take it off. And I know certainly in our winter, which is very mild, I might start the day at home with a wool neck warmer on, and after a few hours, once it's warmed up in the day, I start to feel, oh, this is rather scratchy, and take it off. But it really is just a heat thing. So obviously, some people are incredibly sensitive to different yarns and might have wool or mohair allergies, and that's a different situation entirely. But I find this very nice and soft and easy wearing. Jackie says, it feels luxurious in wintertime in Switzerland. Absolutely. And it's an extremely popular yarn base in Scandinavia, and I imagine absolutely beautiful for a lot of the North American climate, depending on where you are located. So that is the Good Karma shawl. Then I am going to take you through a couple of other samples of projects that we have done in the past, but in different colorways. And then we can come back and look at the colors and the yarns again and see if there's anything that you want to see again, or for me to hold up some color combinations, and we can go from there. Is everyone still okay in terms of following along? My pace is all right. I'm not speaking too fast today, I hope. Excellent. Thanks very much, Liza. Right, so the next project that I want to show you is called the Sweet Dreams Shawl. And with our pink theme for February, my original version of it was a great one for the color theme. So I'm just going to put it for you. So this is my Sweet Dreams shawl. So you can see, compared to the other two projects, this is a much more detailed knit. Each panel has a different stitch pattern, and it makes it challenging, but interesting challenging knit. And you get a little bit of just the striping in between to relax in between each section. And this pattern was designed by a South African designer called Jane Renton. And in late 2019, we did a knit along on in our Wednesday morning Zoom group, and we recorded those sessions. So there is a playlist on YouTube that will take you through all of the steps in the shawl. And I'm just going to hopefully paste that link in here. So there you can see a link to our YouTube channel and the playlists there. And there is one for the shawl. All of the knit kit playlists are there as well. Please do subscribe while you're there. We're looking to grow our YouTube subscriber base so that we can actually start to get compensated for the ads that are played. So I used this, my starting multicolor was 9 to 5. And then I went completely out of that color palette and chose the hot pink and mustard to knit with it, which was very different, but I really like how it has turned out. And you see the different color effects as they work through. And it's got a tassel on the end and is a nice size. Lightweight, you know, you could wear it like this, just with a drape, or wear it as a wrap. And it's a really lovely piece, and I enjoyed knitting it very much. My mum also knit one in our knit along. She ended up using the same base but very different contrast colors. And the yarn bundles for this project, it's knit in our merino twist yarn, and the bundle has 100 grams of the multicolor and 2 balls each, so 100 grams per color of the semi-solid colors. So my mum used very different color combination, and hers also worked up beautifully, and she uses it a lot in our spring to winter weather. So that's the Sweet Dreams shawl. And it's called the Sweet Dreams shawl because Jane's original colorway was using our Sweet Dreams multicolor, and she paired it with Dusty Rose and Camp's Bay. So that's another nice project. And sorry, I'm getting surrounded by many skeins of yarn. So I've got a couple of, there are a couple of hats over here that I can show you. I've got some other yarn combinations, and I thought I would also show you our mini ball collection. So what we have done is created almost a chocolate box of mini balls in all of our solid colors. And each ball, so in the merino DK, the proper sock, the fluffy, and the Aran, they're 20-gram balls per color. And in kid silk, they're 5 grams. And in merino twist and lace, they're 10 grams per color. So if you're into color work, it's a really lovely gift for yourself or someone else. And here you're looking at the proper sock. So you can see there's a whole range of colors that you could put together if you are either looking to knit stripy socks or if you like to have small quantities of different colors on hand for making contrast color heels and toes. So those mini box collections you'll see on the yarn shop page. I have got some swatches here, and I want to show you, if I can find where I put it. So I'm working on a shawl project, someone else's design that I'm knitting, and I thought I would use our, oh yes, I will tell you about the shawl and background. So this one is going to wear in this direction. And it's a design pattern created by a designer called Nidhi Kansal, who is an Indian designer based in Delhi, I think. And our most popular colorway across the board is Happy Days. And so I thought that I would work up a project in that, and I put in some contrast colors in the lace single. But the finished version of this, you will have to come back in March to see or sign up for our newsletter, because that is where I will be making it available. And someone asked about the shawl in the background. I forgot to pull this one down to show you. So this is our Joys of Spring shawl pattern and bundle. I'm just going to put those details into chat. So this is a beautiful, lightweight, large shawl project. See over here, but it's a generous size shawl. It's knit in a combination of our kid silk in a multicolor with 2 contrast solids in our merino lace single yarn. Thanks, Liza. It's a lovely project to knit. Just let me try and bring it on the right way. And you can see in terms of size that it's really large. You can see it's coming down here, and I'm 1.70 meters, so it's a generous size. Lots of space to wrap up in it, and because of the kid silk and lace, it's extremely light, and also bundles up beautifully into a scarf. So if you're in an indoor-outdoor type situation where you're wearing a coat and going out somewhere, you can start with it as a scarf while you've got your coat on, and then as you unbundle it, you've got the wrap in the shawl. So our knit kit for this one, I'm just going to open the bag, comes in a project bag. Our project bags are color-coded for the colorway that's inside. And these are yarn scraps from the skein ties that we use when dyeing and take them off, and we stitch them together to make a fabric. We actually have some beautiful cushions on the website using fabric. Inside the bag, you get 2 skeins of kid silk, 2 balls of lace single in the contrast colors, and this one has got a printed pattern. We're going to discontinue the printed ones, but we will send you a PDF as well with all the instructions. And if you visit our YouTube channel, have a look at the playlists. There is a Knit Kits playlist And there you'll see the videos for each of the knit kit projects that we have for the moment. And this shawl is also available in 2 other colorways. So this one is 9 to 5 in the kid silk with celadon and carrot juice as the contrast colors. And then we have a beautiful a Karma Chameleon colorway, which is paired with Rainforest and Orchid Blush. And you can find pictures and information about all of the colorways on our website in the knit kits section. So I'm going to just check in with everyone as to, we've got about sort of just over 15 minutes, and I wanted to find out whether there are other things you would like me to show or show again, and we'll keep going from there. I'm also very happy to take questions. If anyone has any questions, colors they want to see paired together, then please, please put those into the chat. So a couple of questions there. Why are we discontinuing the printed patterns? So Eileen, we sell a lot of our kits in Europe, and for example, French knitters, a lot of French knitters will use English patterns, but the English language pattern is not that useful in France, Germany, Scandinavia, where there are many different languages, and we don't have translations of the patterns yet. We will get to the point certainly where we have them in French and German. So the printed pattern isn't that helpful, and we have the PDF as well. So many people knit with an app like Knit Companion these days. So we're just finding not that much demand for the printed version. Yeah, it will be a printable PDF so that anyone who does want a printed version will be able to print it. So then a question, using 2 strands of fingering kid silk is equal to, so I would say 2 strands of kid silk is probably equal to a fingering because, no, she says, so the kid silk is about 400 meters to 50 grams, so 800 meters to 100 grams. So I would say 2 strands of kid silk is the equivalent of a fingering, because 2 strands would be about 400, 450 meters in 100 grams. And so that's more of a fingering weight range. Then a question from Valera. What colorway for the color palette sock you showed? Yes, this one is faded flowers. Faded flower, faded flowers, flowers. So that is, I think that's the one that you want and the one that you wanted. Right. Any other questions anyone wants me to answer specifically? Otherwise, I can show you some more of our swatches.
I have a question. The new shawlette.
Yes.
What other color? I'm never partial to that color green. If there's another color that can go with the sample color, that the limited edition.
Oh, the limited edition. Yes. So this one or the...
No, the darker one, that
yes,
one.
This one. So with this one, you could pair it with with another pink, of course, but you could also pair it with, if you like green, you could pair it with a green. So let me just find... So for example, you could pair it with...
I don't like that so much. I like the original one better even.
No, you could pair it with a neutral color. So if you wanted something paler, like a sable, but I think you like dark colors, don't you, dear?
I like something dark. You know already.
You could pair it with Dusty Rose.
It doesn't clash with Dusty Rose?
No, it will. No, it'll be fine. So I think if you don't mind the pink, then Dusty Rose would be lovely. I mean, you could go darker and put it with Masala.
I like that. Right, yeah. Probably. What color is that?
That's Masala.
I don't know if I have that here. I'll look. If I have that, I must have in the color chart.
I'm just going to put it there so you can see the color name.
Right. Oh,
then,
good.
Yep. And then Diana asked if I could show the hats. So yes.
Thank you.
Welcome, Diana. So this brioche hat is the chess hat by Raina K. And you'll find the pattern on Instagram. I'm just going to give you a link here. Oops. It was a free hat, it was a free pattern, and it's knit with 2 skeins of our merino DK. So if you like one of the color combinations that I put together for the Love on the Rocks shawlette, that could be a good way to do this. And it is completely reversible. So you get 2 beautiful color options, and you can see that it's a nice adult size up there. Pigtail at the back there, but it fits nicely on a range of different head sizes. So that's the chess hat. And then the other hat that I've got here is also reversible. So this is Andrea Mowry's Marlowe worsted hat. And this was knit, I knit this one with 2 balls of our merino twist yarn. And I'll just take that off and show you. So you can see, again, this is reversible. And she recommends having 2 similar-ish colors. So I used terracotta and faded rose for this one, but any 2 colors that are relatively close to each other on our color card would have a similar effect. Or of course you could have a much more contrasting color combination. And it's just a fairly straightforward 2-color brioche with decreasing at the crown. A very neat crown, if I do say so myself. So that is the Marlowe worsted hat, and I'll also put that link to the chat. That pattern is available online. And then Liza asked after this session if you want some help navigating color choices. We're very happy to do an individual consultation. We can do that via WhatsApp. Just juggling the time difference is one of the slightly tricky aspects to that. But if you're on the East Coast in the US, then at the moment you're 7 hours behind us. So it's now 10 minutes before 7 p.m. here, which I guess means it's 10 to midday on the East Coast. But we can then just schedule it sort of first thing in the morning for you and a little bit later in the day for us. We're also very happy to, if you have colors, so for example, like Deanna said, she wanted to use, the bougainvillea, but she didn't like the mustard. So then if you give us a little guidance as to what colors you do like, we can then take pictures of them for you where you can see the colors next to each other and see how they work together. And we'll send those pictures to you and also give you a little bit of feedback in terms of what we would suggest works well together. So, so yes, I hope that helps to answer that a little bit for you, Liza. But yes, we're really happy to put together combinations. And one of the other things that we have on the website is a lot of pictures of swatches. So you can see how different yarns work together. And this actually came from a customer who said, look, I'm doing a project for my husband and I'm trying to decide which colors I should put together. And so we knitted a striped swatch where we just changed colors along the way. And she then got a good idea of which color combination would work for the project she was doing. And it's always useful knitting swatches because we photograph them and put them on the website linked to those yarns so that other people get the benefit of seeing that combination as well. Yeah, so you're welcome. I hope that's helpful. Eileen has a picture of her grandson with his beautiful beehive blanket. I would love to see your grandson with his beehive blanket, Eileen. I just have to find you. There you are. Yes, okay.
So my internet is a little, do you hear me?
Yes.
My internet's a little off, but here is a picture of Willett Eugene Steinhauer, born on February 2nd with the most beautiful beehive blanket. I cannot tell you how gorgeous it came. One more picture of him wrapped in it.
You can see this is a proud granny. Oh,
look,
that's so
look
cute.
How beautiful. So everyone thinks you should, everyone, my few knitting friends thinks you should add this as an additional kit.
Okay, well, if you email me those pictures, we will put the color combination onto the website.
If you'd like, but thank you so much for the pattern. I just adore it.
Wonderful, thanks, Eileen. We created that color combination with Eileen based on the color scheme that the parents had for the baby and the baby's room and things like that. So it was a lovely way for her to take something that we had started and then customize it to her situation. And I'm going to hold up that blanket over here. So this is the beehive baby blanket, and the kitten pattern is also available on the website. It's 5 different colors, 1 ball of merino twist per color, and then the honeycomb pattern is created with a multicolor in our merino DK. So yes, absolutely. Welcome to the world, Willett. Yes, I'm sure that he will bring you a huge amount of love and delight, Eileen. So congratulations, mazel tov. Yes, creating a color combination that suits you is something we're very open to doing, and we can do that via email, via WhatsApp, via video call. Yes, very, very happy to do so. So can I check in if anyone has other questions they would like me to answer, or other things they would like to see that you would like me to show?
Can I ask you a question?
Pleasure.
I have actually let everyone know that I bought one of your boxes. I treated myself. The colors are magnificent. I haven't knit it yet, but the colors are absolutely beautiful. I'm knitting with your, you can't see, my lighting's not good, but it's under pressure. Okay. And it's the Silver Fox. And I'm kind of afraid I'm going to run low, and I want to know, is there going to be a terrible degree of variance if I order more Silver Fox in the merino twist?
Look, there is always some variation. So I wanted to show you here, when I was doing this one, I wasn't sure how far I was going to get and what yarn I would need. And when I got here, I had come close to running out of my mustard color, and I needed to add some more. And so I used a mini ball, and if I hold those together, you can see that they are different colors. And if I were knitting a sweater and I just changed on the line, you'd see the color difference. So what I recommend is alternating balls over a broader stretch of knitting, so that you can disguise that color difference. And so I'm not sure how far you've got in the project yet, Donna.
Oh no, I'm doing the ranunculus, and it's pretty much, I mean, it's almost there. What I did is I figured, let me hold the hems in this, because when you run it with the silk, with the haze, what do you call yours? The kid silk, you wouldn't really notice the difference. Okay, so
I then would say, if you're going to do the ribbing and the base of the sweater in a little bit of a different color, you're not going to, it's not going to throw off your sweater.
That's what I figured. Thanks. But everyone, your stuff is I started with you when you first started with Vogue.
Okay, so that was in May or June 2020. June 2020, yes.
Your niece was just going to be born then.
Yeah.
So anyways, your products are beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Donna. That's very kind. Thank you. And my niece is not quite 2, but starting to throw tantrums already. So then Liza, you've asked, I showed a shawl with the Happy Days colorway. Could I show that again? Was that this one? If it was this one is not quite finished yet. And it's called the Menaka shawl. I'll just put the name in here. Oops, no, I spelled it wrong. Shawl. And you can find the pattern on Ravelry. It doesn't look anything like this on Ravelry because it was knitted in a solid color, all in one color. But I'm quite excited by how it is knitting up, and especially the accent that it brings to the lace sections when you do those in a contrast color. So I'm really excited to finish it. I'm not far off, and include that in, I'll show it you in my newsletter, and it'll be part of VKL in March. So I'll have that ready then. And I think one thing I love to combine yarns and to make patterns my own, often just by a color or yarn substitution. And so I like to encourage people to do that as well, although obviously however you like to do it is what's important to you. And my mum is a follow the instructions to the letter type person. So we often have a laugh about, she says, well, what does the pattern say? I'm like, oh, don't worry about the pattern. But yes, so this is it's a really beautiful shawl, and I'm very excited to get it finished and to be wearing it. Yeah. So we are almost at the end officially. Anyone got any last questions or anything they want to ask? Please pop those in the chat if you do. And please do go to the event hub in the marketplace and leave some feedback about the presentation and what you've seen. It's always really helpful for us to get that. And as a closing question, does anyone have any comments about what's been your favorite part of my presentation today? It's always useful to know what people like to see. So thanks, Colleen. So if there is something that you've really enjoyed specifically today, then please pop that in the chat. Thanks, Diana, because it's helpful for me. And yes, do leave some feedback in the event hub as well, please. And Liza, thank you for that comment. It is, yeah, the knitting up projects and knitting up the yarns, I think really brings them to life so that you can actually see how to use them. So thanks for that feedback. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Deanna. And thanks, Anita. I love playing with color and mixing different things together. So tomorrow evening, we will be back, evening our time, tomorrow morning, we will be back at 10 a.m. your time, 5 p.m. my time, and it will be Elmarie and Katie on the screen and me doing the chat in the background. So we look forward to seeing some of you again tomorrow. The more the merrier, bring your friends. And let's talk yarn and color tomorrow again.
Bridget, I have a quick question about the shipping. Again, I got on earlier. I believe last month you mentioned you were going to try to arrange a less expensive shipping option that might take longer. Were you able to do that?
We're still, so they've been trialing that shipping option, and they're not taking on any new customers until they've finished that trial. So they told us February, but we haven't heard anything yet. So I am still working on it, but at this stage, nothing yet. The only other option would be to combine an order with somebody else.
Right. How about come visit you in person and not have any shipping?
That makes it a much more expensive shipping option. But yes, we love visitors. So please do come and visit.
Hope to.
Great. Well, thanks everyone. It's been lovely seeing you today. Thanks so much for all of your comments and feedback, and look forward to seeing your orders rolling in. And do come back tomorrow with any questions you may have, and we can show you, put combinations and things together to show you how they look. Okay. Thanks everybody. Bye.